Wow, baby Juju says the sound. So you heard the music, but you didn't hear me speaking at all. Okay, hang on for a second, all right? Let me know that you can hear me speaking now because some things that I said were um, critical or crucial, and so I'm going to have to repeat what I said. So today, the U.S. announced that it would be sending troops to the Middle East and warns Americans to leave Lebanon. In case you hadn't heard, Israel has had strikes in Hezbollah targets as the conflict has intensified, and more than 450 people were killed and 1,600 others were injured in Israeli airstrikes in Lebanon on Monday, officials said, marking the deadliest day of strikes from Israel in the country since the 2006 war. This has escalated to the point that we could be looking at, in that region, a full war breaking out. And with the United States now announcing that it has sent troops to the Middle East in response to the surge in violence between Israel and Hezbollah, the region is teetering on the edge of an all out war. The Pentagon announced today that additional service members would be deployed to join 40,000 already stationed in the region, along with a dozen warships and fighter jet squadrons. Israel forces have ramped up their airstrikes deep inside Lebanon, and the State Department has warned all Americans to leave as the risk of conflict spirals to levels not seen in years. So the tension has reached a boiling point in the last 7 days and started to deteriorate when these pagers and walkie talkies that were owned by members of Hezbollah exploded in a coordinated attack last week. So there have been devastating airstrikes by Israeli military on today, again, killing at least 100 people and injuring another 400 in Lebanon. As the IDF, that's the Israeli Defense Force warplanes pummel targets across the country. People are terrified. Residents are terrified in Beirut and elsewhere, have received calls and texts warning them to move away from Hezbollah targets, with Lebanon's information minister condemning the alerts as a tactic of psychological war implemented by the enemy. Schools have been closed, heavy attacks have been sparked, and there are calls for international intervention. This is serious. And so, while many Americans, we're just looking at what's going on in our own immediate backyard. Well, if the U.S. is sending troops to the Middle East in response to this surge of violence between Israel and Hezbollah, that region is teetering on the edge of an all-out war. And we're getting ready to elect our next president of the United States. This is very important. Very important. Something like this can completely wipe off the news coverage of any of these celebrities. Any of them. It really could. Because if the U.S. gets pulled in to any of this regional conflict, we're talking about mothers and fathers who have their children overseas. And they haven't seen this kind of escalation. What? It's been 18 years? Think about it. Iran has weapons. They have backed, Hezbollah backed, and other proxies in the area. The U.S. could be target, certainly overseas. So we need leadership that is ready to defend our nation against any foreign enemy. And the U.S. has backed and vowed to stand by Israel. Well, that's our ally. This is why the questions that are asked of the candidates, both the Vice President, Kamala Harris, and the former president, Donald Trump, what will they do? How are they going to protect Americans? How are they going to protect our troops? How are they going to deploy our troops? Who is going to make up the next cabinet? Yeah. The countdown to the election day is coming swiftly. Coming swiftly. And President Biden, he's been rather quiet. He has. It's almost as if he is our president. He still is a commander in chief, and he has to make those important decisions. It's on him right now. Of course, he has his cabinet advisors, the Congress, and all of that. But ultimately, today, the decisions about the sovereignty and protection of the United States will rest with our current president. Gia Papaya says, I was just thinking of that, Teddy. I haven't heard a thing about him lately. No. We know that he's still our president. Joanne says the Israeli war will never end. It's one conflict after another conflict after another conflict, and it's been going on for hundreds and hundreds and thousands of years, but not with weapons that are available today. Yeah. If you listen to what President Biden said only a couple of years ago, he said that we could be facing the reality of a third world war. I hadn't heard a president say that before. If there was a third world war, it would be different than World War II. That's for sure. Much different. Because you're looking at technology. You're looking at if the US was targeted just our grid, our energy grid, a cyber attack on our energy grid, it will affect hundreds, if not thousands, hundreds of thousands of households. And not to mention if a nuclear warhead would be pointing our way. Yes, I think the US is capable of defending, I hope. But let's not forget there are other nation superpowers. And we don't want a third world war. But it's almost, maybe not in my lifetime, inevitable, but it's a real possibility. I don't know why people think it couldn't happen with the way things are. Yeah. That's why it's important to have strong leadership and be ready. Someone who can, be there when that call comes in. Remember when Hillary said, who's going to answer that call at 2 a.m. in the morning, 3 a.m. in the morning? The power to make that kind of decision to call up troops if necessary. Yeah. Instead of all of these, gang wars that are going on right now, and something local that happened just last night in Philadelphia, another, I guess you would call it like a local story there in Philadelphia, but just out of control. There was this group of, I'll just say, young adults, and who had, I guess they bring all these cars together and they do these wheelies, and they gather. Well, a police cruiser, and I'll show you a picture of it, was coming toward the crowd in order to, I would think, to kind of break things up. Instead of the crowd dispersing, the crowd came toward the police cruiser and started jumping on the cruiser, and more people. It was a mob. It was, and I'll show you. This happened in the streets of Philadelphia just last night. People are not, as they weren't even afraid of the police. It's out of control. Mm-hmm. Yes, I'm talking about your city. If it's Philadelphia, let me pull it up. It's all over the news too. Let's see. Fair use commentary. I haven't really talked about the news very much, but let's take a look at this. So I don't have to play the sound, but you can just see what's going on. Well, hundreds of cars were involved in a string of illegal car meetups across Philadelphia just this weekend, and several of which turned violent. Videos from across the city reveal the chaos that unfolded, including cars doing burnouts, fireworks, even rings of fire in the streets. Images recorded by Lisa Jordan, who lives off of 25th and Washington Streets, showed what happened after she came downstairs in an effort to get people off the parked cars they were standing on. She says, I ended up at some point coming down as I was assaulted myself, then was threatened with a gun. There was a shell casing the cops found. So yeah, she said, I had these barrels thrown at me, she recalled. In the end, authorities responded to a total of 11 illegal car meetups, 6 of which reportedly turned violent and destructive between 9:30 p.m. Saturday and 4:30 a.m. on Sunday. So these groups of people were moving from various locations throughout, we'll just say, the surrounding area. So one of the officers, and actually I believe it was the chief of police, described that it was like playing whack-a-mole, right? Whack-a-mole. Once they get one area under control, then another would start up. Investigators say a police officer was injured and hospitalized at one of these locations, and at least one police vehicle was stomped on and damaged. It's very concerning when my members go to work and don't go home the same way. So anytime one of my members injured, he is saying, it's very concerning. It should be concerning to the public because it shows these people have no concern for the law, he said. A bill cracking down on drifting and street racing was signed into law last year in Philadelphia, and the councilman, Mike Driscoll, who sponsored that bill, believes that what happened this past weekend was a response to the law being enforced over the past several months. So people are reacting because law enforcement is cracking down, and this is the kind of response that's going on. So when law enforcement, this person Driscoll said, started to kick in recently, it seems like it emboldened them to come out and say, this doesn't apply to us. Well, on Monday, investigators were actively working to identify the people and vehicles in these videos, to prosecute everyone involved and seize the cars. They're putting our citizens in danger, Driscoll explained. So we have to push back, and we have to start making arrests. We have to start taking these blank vehicles and let them know that Philadelphia is not where you're going to do this illegal activity. Authorities told Action News on Sunday that police will not tolerate this behavior. We have your picture. We're coming for you. If you think you got away last night, you didn't, says the Deputy Commissioner, Francis Healy, Chief of Staff at the Philadelphia Police Department. When you hear the banging on your door, it will be us, he says. We're coming with search warrants and arrest warrants. Don't think we're going to allow this to happen in our city. We're not, Healy added. Investigators are now actively going after people involved in these incidents with the hope of prosecuting, slapping them with a $2,000 fine and confiscating their vehicles. I say, personally, I say, arrest them, absolutely. Those who are causing this chaos and confusion and retaliating against law enforcement. Retaliating against law enforcement, and we expect when we call the police that they would come to protect us. Yet we have citizenry who allow their young adults, and some are adults, to be in the streets and causing this kind of havoc in the streets. What are the police expected to do? What are they expected to do? When you see sites like this and police officers, they come in each and every day when they take roll call and they are given, their sides of the streets or wherever they're going to be while they're on active duty. This is what they worry about. Their adrenaline is rolling. And when they find themselves in a situation like this, and we expect the police to be able to, manage, well, they're human too. And they see this. It doesn't help the situation. It doesn't. And people are going to get hurt, and more violence is going on in these cities. And this is Philadelphia. It looks like it's something someone said out of the movies. If you watch the Joker at the end, I mean, it was like no control. As if the bad guys have the upper hand over law enforcement. This is what they're dealing with in Philadelphia. So yeah, I say they have to do it in the right way. But some innocent people end up getting hurt, if not worse. But yet, we have people who say they are activists fighting for justice, and they are wasting, citizens are wasting police resources on this kind of nonsense, making fake calls into the police when there are real crimes that the police officers need to be following up on and fighting. I wish there were more laws in place and that those laws were enforced. Makeup Diva and Curls, I see your comment says, Teddy, can you drop the link so I can give some insight? So let me do that and make sure. You just never know what I'm going to talk about on a Monday night. It is Monday, right? So, invite. Copy the link. Let's turn this down a little bit. All right, so I've dropped the link. Makeup Diva and Curls. Go ahead, hit the link. I'm going to put up this just to make sure. You are who you say you are. Fair use commentary. Subscribe to Run Tell That Too. Unwind with Teddy. I'm Natasha the Machine. D for Danielle. Latoya Wood says, you guys, the 14-year-old that unalived 2 students and 2 teachers, his mom is now being charged for elderly abuse, both of his parents, and now locked up. Well, the parents too. They've got to be held accountable
Hmm.
and are being held accountable. Yes, you can email me right now at unwindwithteddy@gmail.com. Again, we are looking at an election that's going to take place in less than 45 days. And all right, let's see who this is. Let me unmute your mic. Can you unmute your mic? Is that Makeup Diva and Curls?
Hey, Teddy.
Hey, all right, let me see if I can bring you up. Hang on for just 1 second. All right, so you have your avatar is just an A.
Okay. Hi.
Okay, let me bring you up. And wait a minute. Let me do this real quick. Oops. Here we go. Welcome, Diva.
Hi. Can you hear
Hi.
me good?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine. Let me turn this down. Welcome to the Bear Cave. What's on your mind tonight?
Okay, so I probably wanted to give a little bit of insight because this is my city, unfortunately, and this
Okay,
has
go
to
ahead.
be the most embarrassing thing ever. Um, so what y'all are seeing is City Hall. That is the center city, downtown, middle area because Philly has so many moving parts. So I think mainly what we're dealing with right now for our city is the new power. We have a mayor. Our mayor is a female. Her name is Sherelle Parker. I think the problem with our city right now is that Sherelle Parker came in, I guess, swinging, like kind of barbaric a little bit. So what she did was kind of heighten up the crime because she came in with so many um like new laws. Like she started what we had gotten rid of a long time ago, which is live stops. So now they could just stop you at any given time. So you have to make sure you have your insurance ready, your registration, everything has to be current. If not, they could just take your car at this point. So that's one of the things that she has decided to do. She brought back all like the barbaric things that we had that we gotten rid of. So then we have on the other side we have delinquent children and they're overtaking the city.
Oh,
So you see a mixture of adults probably in there, but you mainly from what I saw watching it earlier, you can see a lot of children.
all right.
So the children right now I would say they're in a disarray because their households are not, I guess, in a good state. Because I also work for social services as well.
Okay.
Excuse me. So I see both ends of it. So, from an economic standpoint, the parents are not home because more than likely they can't afford to be home because everything has gone up in the city, if that makes sense.
It
So,
does.
that's one problem. We have social barriers, economic barriers. We have the police who, to me, they hired a lot of cops. And the cops, they don't, I don't think that they're used to dealing with something like this.
It
They're
doesn't
used to,
appear like it.
no, they're used to dealing with, I guess, like maybe things on a smaller scale because it feels like they're honestly putting cops in the middle of like inner city hoods and they don't know anything about the hood. They just know everything about maybe the suburbs because there's Philly and then there's the suburbs. And then you have like the outskirt side of like the city Philly. Like you have like so many moving parts. A lot of the cops that they hire are not inner city people. They are completely people who probably grew up in the county and never ever seen or heard anybody get shot. They've never heard gunfire. They've never probably had to shoot their gun. It's all kinds of things that are like what you're looking at right now. So I just wanted to give insight on what you're looking at because I don't tend to go certain places, and now it's to the point where everybody are starting to arm themselves because it has gotten so bad. I think like maybe like a week ago, I didn't know that the electrical part of my car door was off centered. So somebody opened my car door because they were like teetering on each car for everybody to break in the cars because now we have
What?
fiends that are coming everywhere and they opened my car door. Um for my
Deliberately.
alarm. Yeah, deliberately. My car, and it was like my neighbor's car. My neighbor's car went off, and then they started touching mine, and mine went off. And it was just like back and forth, just car alarms going off. I don't know what's going on with the city. Um, I can't even, it's just so many things wrong. And I think it's mainly the economical barriers right now that is making everything completely messed up. But I mean, I would say for anybody that lives in the city, no matter where you live at, you have to arm yourself because it has gotten that bad. I've never seen my city look this bad. Even as being a teenager, my generation never, never did anything this remotely this bad. Now, I'm a certain age and my parent is a certain age. They had who the mayor that they had, I think he was in the 80s. They called him, his name was Frank Rizzo. They called him Rizzo.
All right.
Um Rizzo was barbaric kind of like her, but he was like an Italian guy and he didn't take no crap from anybody. So I said, so was he really wrong in how I think he was I know you covered the move bomb. So I think he was around that timing. And I think he was the one that might have put the go, the green light for them to drop the move bomb. So
Mm.
he was that barbaric. So what they're trying to give the city back is what Rizzo gave to the city. But Rizzo was allegedly also pretty racist. So um I don't I don't even know what to say about that except for this is so embarrassing. I didn't even realize we made the news like that. Um, Most of us are busting our behind to get out the city right now.
I'm sure, and I'm reading what's going on.
It's
There are
bad.
people that are actually robbing and
Hmm.
assaulting people, not just at
Hmm.
night, but in daylight. I'm
Yes.
reading this.
Yes. So, I know I have people, I know friends, they have um had their cars breaking into multiple times. People I know who have gotten shot, people I might have been correct directly connected to, and they have family members who have gotten killed.
Wow.
Well, I'm sorry, unalived.
Yeah.
Um, I grew up in the area of what we call South Philadelphia.
All right.
I grew up around a lot of crime. I'm from like the hood side as well, and it was bad then, but this is like whole like the juvenile delinquency is just like they're the ones with that certain kind of like weapons that you shouldn't even be able to get your hand on. They have like military style weapons and
Mm.
they're in Center City just shooting, well, disarming them on people at random. Um College students, uh I can't even the list goes on. They
And
want to declare you. They want to declare martial law. The only problem with martial law, I think people don't understand,
is
is
what?
that it takes away the funding,
It takes away the what?
the funding of the
Funding.
city. So if you get government funding, well, we are okay. PA is not a Democratic state. Philadelphia is a Democratic city. The rest of PA is red.
Oh,
The
I
city
see.
is
All
blue.
right. Yes, yes.
So
So
it's a
then,
difference. So we have a lot of Democrats in Philly, but outside is red. So because there's so much funding pumped into that Democratic part, the funding will be gone if they declare martial law. No one can make money unless, I guess, you're a government official. None of us would make money. Even me as a social worker, case management services, I probably wouldn't even make money. So I think that is why the mayor is doing what she's doing. But I also didn't vote for her because I didn't care for her, because this is exactly what's going to get worse. But this is also the direct result of past police commissioners not doing their job. We had a woman police commissioner, and no offense to her, she didn't do anything but make what you see now. The one before her, he was trying to get better with our city, but he had a scandal, and somehow he was messing around with multiple people, and I think it was kind of planted to get rid of him, and they made him step down for her to step up, and when she stepped up, it just, you get exactly what you see on this screen right here.
right. I think one of the significant reasons why I'm reading that crime and this kind of behavior is happening is the availability of illegal firearms. All of this is
Yes,
contributing
yes.
to the uptick in shootings
Hmm.
and unaliving. Philadelphia isn't the only US city that is facing these challenges, but
Hmm.
it's one of them that is having to fight this gun violence.
Hmm. Well, I will say this as a person who is, I guess, licensed for, how do you put it, pew pews for a few of them. Um, it's very accessible to apply. There's no, um, how do you put it, psychological background, anything. You just apply. Um, I think I applied and it came back like either the next day or later that day. Um, when you go get a, pew pew, um, it's very easy to get it. Or you can go in the street and then they have the, I guess what they call them now, ghost guns, and or ghost pew pews, and they, hand it to the kids. As well as we've had a lot of violence for kids, being able to accessibly take one from their parents because they're lying around and they're not using safety as well. I don't understand why, if you have that type of thing in your house, that you don't lock it up and put it in a lockbox. That's what lockboxes are for. If you have small children in your house, you should have a lockbox. That's another part of the crime that we've been having as well. A lot of kids are letting it, the the thing, the weapons off on the other kid that is in the house because it's easily accessible, and then the parents weren't supposed to have that, and then that's what happens with that.
Sure.
So it's like that is another problem as well. But I also found it very accessible for you to have these type of things legally as well. I feel like you should go through some type of evaluation. It shouldn't have been that easy. But then it causes the rest of us who are normal citizens to have to use that tactic as well. And some of us don't want to, but we have to use that tactic as well to make sure that we're safe. because we have kids, or we have a family we have to protect.
Sure.
So some of the violence is towards those people who do the violence, and then you have the unruly kids that are starting to just walk around and beat people up.
This is what I'm learning. I'm
So
reading this.
yeah,
I'm
so
just
then
shocked.
we have the neighborhoods, like if you're somebody that lives in a certain part of the city, um and you live around a bunch of schools, you will definitely have some type of issue with kids in that school, because a lot of the inner city schools are terrible. Don't even pay attention to Kevin Hart giving us computers. That is the
Mhm.
tip of the iceberg. He probably should have did more than give some computers.
Wow.
We The public school system is awful. I personally don't send my child to a public school system. That's just my choice. It's my
Of course.
preference.
It's
The
your
schools
choice.
the schools are really bad. So being as a person on the outside, it's way better. You just have to move on the outside, or you have to move further. But then we have sundown towns, because PA is very racist. We have a lot of racism in our state that people don't know. We have a lot of sundown towns. There are a lot of places where you cannot go after a certain time, like
I
about
get
now.
it.
You can't go there. They will definitely hunt you down and do
Wow.
whatever you won't even imagine. So
Hmm.
it's so many moving parts to the city of Philadelphia that you just the list would go on. I can't
Yeah.
even tell you all the things that we are enduring, just being, you know, in this vicinity. And it's not even just living in Philly. Like if you live on the outside, a little bit further on the outside, you're still dealing with things, because now it's pushing that way. Like a kid, he was like, oh, 14 and 18. I can't remember what they did. They carjacked a lady or something like that, and they were found in the woods of an area that would never happen to, because they were hiding in the woods, and they had to have a manhunt for them, and they were in that lady's backyard, just parlaying like nothing was wrong. These are
Mhm.
kids. So
Kids. Well, I am sorry that this is, happening right in, your area. You're experiencing this, and it is your city. And of course, anyone from a city, when people talk about Detroit, I, I talk about Detroit because this is
yes.
where I basically live in the surrounding areas. Detroit is, people say Detroit, that's all the areas and surrounding. It's not
Hmm.
just. Um, but another reason why I've been reading is the surge in crime is Philadelphia, not just Philly, but it's complex because of the impact of COVID-19. It's still the residual, the pandemic, the
Hmm.
social services that were disrupted, like you said, the
Oh.
schools, the community services, the youth.
Hmm.
It's just a lot.
I am currently on leave from being burnt out from social services. Um, the amount of I can't help you is inevitable. I mean, is literally nothing I can do. I mean, people need housing, they need food, they need this, they need that, and they consistently come to you, and there's no services. I think they think that we can't render services for whatever, because they think that we're holding out, and we're not. We genuinely don't have any resources. And when they do offer more resources, or the fiscal year is up and it goes to this corporation, this organization, that organization, this nonprofit, it's tapped out immediately since COVID, because everything has gone up, including food. And then you have tri state, you have New York, you have New Jersey, you have Delaware. Their resources are tapped out as well, because they have probably the same problem that we have. And that the list just goes on and on. I feel like after COVID, the city just couldn't revive itself back. So, I mean, I'm not really like a Republican person. I am a Democrat, but I don't understand how, as Democrats, we have this problem, and the red areas don't have that problem. When you go to those areas, food is not the same price as it is in the inner city. The inner city is where the help is needed the most, but it's not given. So I I just don't understand that.
Uh, that is that is common in most cities,
Hmm.
where when you go outside of the city, the services, the groceries, everything that would affect day-to-day living, the standards, it is not the same. And more has to be done, you're saying, in a democratic city run. It is democratic run,
Yes.
and monies need to get into the city, and it's needs to go to the services, and so on and so on. So I appreciate, you coming up and just sharing
Yeah,
your.
I figured I would give you some insight because people don't really know too much about exactly what's going on, in being a resident of the surrounding areas. I see people look at us like this is a great no, you don't even understand. This video is just the tip of the iceberg of what
Wow.
really happens every day. Like our safety is totally in jeopardy every day, all day.
And as a professional, and like you said, stress that you would have faced, burnout, it's not uncommon.
Hmm.
And so I just hope that you take care of yourself as well. And
Yes.
um, yeah, thank you for sharing. Is there anything else that you'd like to?
No, I just
Oh,
wanted to let you guys
yeah.
know the
Okay.
the actual insight, but I'm gonna drop down and be in
Okay.
the bushes again.
Yes.
I have some homework. Thank you so
Yeah. Yeah.
much for listening, Teddy.
Oh, you're welcome. Well, thank you for coming up. That was Makeup Diva and Curls. Go ahead and drop down.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, hope you have a good evening. Wow. So, what you were watching on the screen that I had up was a group of young people last night. This happened in Philadelphia. Uh, to be exact, was it Indiana, Philadelphia? Let me look at ABC 6 again. Philadelphia. It was Philadelphia, where hundreds of cars were involved in this string of illegal car meetups. Well, what happened, and you see the video, and as the police officer was moving in to try to disperse the crowd, well, you can see what ended up happening. Rather than the residents or those that you see in the streets, dispersing, they turned on this officer surrounding this vehicle. He ended up having to be hospitalized in this crowd, just out of control. And this is happening right here in Philadelphia. This crime has to um, get under control. And they say that they are going to make arrests. McClurg says, how terrifying. And Essence, I saw you come in. Joanne says, most urban communities. I hate guns. There's no one being responsible. Vicky Black, skirmishes are key ingredients of a revolution. It's like there's a Like everything seems to be lining up right now for the wrong reason. That, something just like that could happen. Wow. I started off by talking about the important news of the ongoing conflict in the Middle East between Israeli forces and Hezbollah, and that United States has sent troops to the area. We could be looking at uh, the beginning of another full out war in the Middle East. Yeah. And then look at what's going on right here at home. Well, it's Monday. It's 11:03. I've been on for an hour and one. Let me check my email. Simon says, need to get control of the situation and take things serious here. Yeah. Essence, aesthetic. Be aware of your surroundings, your family, your loved one, everywhere we go right now. There's a lot of volatility going on with people. There's a lot of um, anxiety and frustration going on here in this country. Yeah. McClurg says you have to protect yourself and be prepared. Ongoing conflicts in our hoods. There's gangs that are being interviewed. I was watching just today in Chicago, talking about the migrants and these Venezuelan gangs and turf wars that could possibly happen. So there's just so much going on in a lot of these cities. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead, check my mail, and I will be right back, wrap things up. Biggest bear hugs go out to all the Grizzlies. Um, I appreciate each and every one of you who joined me right here on Run Tell That too. You can email me at unwindwithteddy@gmail.com. Follow me on all social media. And on your way out, if you enjoyed the broadcast, give us a thumbs up. I'll be right back. All right, I've checked my email and I appreciate each and every one of you who do just say hello. I appreciate that. Yeah, we're good for now. It seems to be random, says Essence Aesthetics. Yes, they won't even find half these people. And again, shout out to Makeup Diva and Curls for coming up on the panel and sharing her experience in living in the area of Philadelphia. What's the word? What is the word? How terrifying it must be. I mean, can you imagine in broad daylight, people's homes are just getting broken into, uh, carjackings, just gun violence. It's no wonder people stay, locked up in their homes behind bars. It's horrible. Yes. Well, you're welcome, Makeup Diva and Curl says. Thanks for chatting with me. No, thanks for coming up. I appreciate that. Yeah. Great live and commentary. Good night, Teddy. Yes. Venezuela had sent a lot of immigrants from their own jails. Says McClurg, I feel it was on purpose and to affect American lives. Venezuela is backed by Russia at the end of the day, and Putin been mad since Trump. Annette Hughes says this is going to cause the National Guard to be activated. Hellcats, Chargers, and Challengers should be taken from them and destroyed. Lock and load. My crew is rolling in those. They better pray I don't get that call because of something like this. Yes, it's one thing, you don't want to take people's guns away. Responsible, responsible gun owners. But these illegal weapons, they've got to do more to get them off the streets. Yeah. More to talk about tomorrow. But now it's time to say good night. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm Teddy. Join me in the morning for more Messy Mocha. Good night.
Seven days and 7 hours since I last heard your voice. I know that you felt like you didn't have the choice, and I don't blame you. No, I don't blame you. I know I've been a fool, but baby, believe me when I say to you, yeah, yeah. Change your mind, stay by my side, cause baby I need you. Yeah, change your mind, make you stay by my side, baby I need you. Yeah, you, baby I need you. Oh yeah, oh baby I need you. So please just hear me out. I know I've done you wrong. I know that I've mistreated you, but that I am sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I know I've been a fool, but baby, believe me when I say to you, change your mind, stay on my side, cause baby I need you, yeah, you, make you stay by my side, cause baby I need you. back, yeah, baby, I know that I have done you wrong. Yeah, I've treated you poorly. That I've been a fool. But baby, believe me when I say to you. Cause baby